Hi, I'm Streaky. Today I'm reviewing the Micro Clock Mark III from Black Lion Audio. So Black Lion Audio have made this clock. Now if you haven't come across clocking before, you should have done, but if you haven't, let me give you a brief explanation on what clocks do. They have two purposes basically, from what I see. If you've got loads of digital outboard equipment, it all needs to be following the same clock. If you think of it in the same way, if you had 5 actual clocks, you set them all to the same time, after a while they're going to drift because you have a crystal inside. If all those 5 clocks were getting fed from this one clock rather than their own clock, they all stay locked in place. And what that means is you don't get any clicks or pops or any noise that can come from the clocks kind of drifting and cutting against each other. So that just keeps them nice and rock solid. That's if you've got loads of digital gear that you need to feed off each other, provided that they have a clock input. The other use of a clock is the way I've always used it, is to change the sound of the clock that you've got in your D to A to D. So the way I'm using this clock is to feed my prism converter. So what it means is it's using this clock, this dedicated clock, rather than using its own internal clock. Now Prism have got a ridiculously good clock, so I'm not saying it's a bad clock, it's just a different clock. So does it make a difference to the sound? Now, yes it does. So what it does is, as soon as I plugged this in, I thought, okay, well, it's probably not going to do much. I spoke to Prism, they said it won't have any effect on the audio signal at all because Prism clocks are rock solid, it won't measure any different. But I listened to it and it did make a difference. So what difference is it making? For me, it's making the attacks sharper and it's giving me more clarity. Now, where I hear it most is in the low end. And to prove that to me, because I was kind of thinking, yeah, I can definitely hear that difference, but as a kind of proof in the pudding, I did an album for a good client of mine who's got, you know, a good system, good ears, and I did half the album without it, and I did half the album with it, and that was only because I didn't have it at the time. It came in, I thought, okay, I'll plug it in and see how it sounds, left it in, and then I got a call off him when I delivered the album, and he said, what was different between the first 6 tracks and the last 6 tracks? And so I said, which one do you prefer? And he said the last ones, the bass was so tight and so together compared to the first 6. So that was basically, for me, the rubber stamp, because he knows his stuff, and it did, like, it's in the bass where you hear it the most. Not in the top end. Around the vocals area I can hear it, but in the bottom it's just rock solid and you get this really sharp attacks and it just gives you a much tighter feel, like a more locked in feel. So for me, this is staying. Black Lion Audio, this is top of the range. It goes from 41k to 384. That's on BNCs at the back. You can see it's got BNCs. It's also got an optical out which goes to 96k, and then it's got an SDiff, SPDiff, and AES out, and they go to 192. So however you're feeding into your clock out of those outputs, then you know you're pretty much sorted. You shouldn't really be going up over 96 in my opinion. So I've got it going out on a BNC straight into my my DAC. So and it's working for me. It's a great sounding thing. It is roughly about £800, I think, including that. And then, but they do have a smaller version which is the same sounding as this, but it's in around the £200–250 mark, so that's a bargain for a clock. If you're looking at clocks like things like Antelopes, which I had at Metropolis, which that made a really nice sound too, a little bit sharper than this one, as in sound rather than what it's doing. They're crazy money, something like 4,000 or something. So this shows great value, I personally think. But like I say, there is a £250 version. It doesn't go up to, it doesn't have as many outputs and as many features, and it goes up to 96, I think, only. But as I say, I don't think you need to go any higher than that. And so that shows great value for money. That's definitely worth looking at. So that is the Micro Clock Mark III from Black Lion Audio. Worth looking at if you want to get that little enhancement. Like I say, the bass is just super tight once it's in, so it's definitely worth looking into. I'll be keeping this one. I'll have to fork out for it, unfortunately, but there you go, you can't have it all. So thanks for watching anyway. If you'd like me to master for you, there is a discount code for getting this far in the video, and if you've got anything you want me to review, let me know in the comments. If you've got any questions on clocking, or if you've got any things you found out about clocking, or things you think I should know about anything audio, then please let me know. Until next time, bye.